Hi, it's Friday. It's 3 o'clock. Welcome to our new show, Something for the Weekend, brought to you by Together 2012. We're an artist led organisation based in the main Paralympic host borough of Newham. Still celebrating London 2012 here and creating a real and lasting Paralympic cultural legacy, of which our activities are just part of it. We're going to be telling you more about our Joining from Home programme later in the show. But first, some introductions and some audio description. We've brought over all of the best bits of our previous show Together Unlocked. So we're going to be starting as we mean to go on and dressing up to go out to stay in. I'm Jude Gosling, also known as the artist Jude90. I'm Artistic Director of Together 2012. And with me, where she's been locked in and locked down since last March, is our chair, the artist and campaigner, Julie Newman. So before we have our proper audio description and say what we're dressing up to go out, dressing up to stay in, to go out to do. No, I'm going to have to get that right. It was all so easy when it was just tripping off the tongue as part of Together Unlocked. So yes, without further ado, to the other end of our long-wheeled virtual sofa in the West Midlands, let's have some introduction and audio description and tell us what you're dressing up to go out to stay in to do.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the new era. So I am Robin Surgener. I'm Business Director at Together 2012. As Ju said, up here in our West Midlands Sutton Coldfield studio. Behind us are some lovely red velvet curtains, keeping us warm as the weather continues to deny the month. Um, what do I look like? I have got increasingly lengthy, and yes, even if I have had two haircuts, hair in a silvery grey um, mess. I've got blue eyes behind no rimmed black armed glasses, uh, shaven-ish, and I am wearing a black polo shirt, which has got my name and says junior coach on the right breast and the swimming club logo on the left breast. The shirt is basically black, and the whiting is in silver white with an orange logo. I will say more about this shirt when it comes to looking at the week ahead.
Hello, and I'm Tracy Surgener. I used to be behind the scenes for Together Unlocked, but now I'm in front of the screen, enjoying it as well quite a lot. And I have got long blonde hair just past my shoulders, pale skin. Today I'm wearing some glasses which are green and black rimmed glasses. Don't usually wear glasses, so this is part of my dressing up to go out to stay in. I'm wearing a navy blazer with a pink shirt and some navy trousers.
Lovely. So what are you dressing up to go out to stay in to do, Tracy?
Well, I'm actually going on an adventure. I'm going to a virtual escape room, and the this escape room that I'm going to is called the Illuminatis. So I'm in my Illuminati outfit.
Oh, so I'm going to ask you more about that later in the show then. We've kept all of your favourites. So we have poems coming up from the Pop Up Poetry Club. We have artwork that you can join in from home. From the Art Club, we've got the Clockwork Paralympics and much, much more. But first, a few more introductions from East London and a little bit more about Together 2012 and the show. I'm Jude Gosling. I've got a self-styled hennaed corona crop, mercifully hidden under a black and white brimmed, what I would call festival hat. I've got pale olive skin. I've got green eyes, very puffy from my allergies at the moment behind black plastic glasses. I've got black wrist braces, silver coloured jewellery, and I'm wearing a bright red t-shirt that says remain calm and drink tea. Well, it actually says remain calm and drink Pembrokeshire tea. And it's a t-shirt that was designed by our brand manager and logo designer, Tony Malone, when he was running a tea company. Just one of many things that he's done. And it was Tony's birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Tony. I'm dressed up because it's Stress Awareness Month and I'm very aware of my stress already. So I thought I might take that a little bit further and remember to sit down and have a cup of tea. I have an Apple Watch these days, which was bought as part of a social care package in terms of fall alarms. And every so often it beeps and tells me to breathe. And I just find that so irritating that I'm not finding that part of the stress reduction strategy at all. Also, behind us, you can see our Together 2012 graffiti banner. That's covered with images, if you see the full picture online, of all the activities we cover in the course of a year, from street art, carnival art, visual art, live music, poetry, spoken word, photography, filmmaking, and much, much more. We're running a very comprehensive program that you can join in with from home. So, like I say, we'll be telling you more about that as we go. And why are we still here? Well, just like so many of you, the fact that Boris Johnson has said we don't have to shield any longer is not actually going to stop us needing to shield. We won't be having our second jab until, I think with us it's June, isn't it? So it's going to be the summer before those jabs kick in. Then there's the booster jab in September. And then there's the fact the jabs don't actually guarantee to work 100%. So if you're one of the people who, like us, are still going to be inside or for all or most of the time for months, if not years to come, we're here for you. We hope you'll stay and not only be here with us, but send us in your artwork, your poems, your other contributions. And if you've got a project to promote, get a hold of us. We'd love to have you on the show. But last but by no means least, over to Julie Newman for some introduction and some audio description. And I know you also wanted to say something about today's news.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Ju. I'll do the audio description first. I have on my head a little straw hat. It's not a boater, but it's a little summer outing hat. It's got a black band on it, just coincidentally. It was not in any way linked to today's news. I have dark rimmed glasses, and my hair, similarly to Tracy's, has grown, and it doesn't sit as nicely or as well managed as Tracy does, but it's sort of lurking on my shoulders in a slightly threatening way, I think. It's gold and silver. Today I'm wearing a delightful summer shirt in anticipation, but I've got a long-sleeved blue t-shirt underneath it. It's a dark blue and it's got sailboats on it. Quite a few sailboats actually. It's sort of everywhere, and that's because I better finish me the audio descriptions. I'm adorned. I have lots of adornments. I have silver, pewtery, lovely jewelry. I have a boat as a brooch. Where are we? There we are. So you'll get glimpses of my jewels from time to time. And that's nothing to do with my name.
And what are you dressing up to go out to stay in to do, Julie?
Today I'm going on the river. I really, really miss the river. So I thought, well, I'll go on the Woolwich Ferry. I love the Woolwich Ferry, and you can go as a pedestrian or a wheelchair user in my case. So, I've done it before, and I went backwards and forwards for quite a long time with my camera, and the crew was so lovely. They didn't make me get off between stops, because what happens is every 20-25 minutes the boat goes from North Woolwich to Greenwich.
I'm not sure, but I think
North Greenwich, I think it is actually. Yes.
Would it not be North Woolwich to Woolwich because it's the Woolwich Ferry?
It could well
However,
be, yes.
We've got months to carry on discussing this, but we're not going to continue to share it. Just to explain finally, we started dressing up to go out to stay in a year ago or longer when the New Zealanders decided to have formal Fridays where they all dressed up to go out to the opera or a dinner party and then stayed at home. So Julie's not going on the Woolwich Ferry, but she might well be looking at all of the pictures and thinking about it and enjoying it. So what else did you want to say before we moved on, Julie?
I wanted formally, as the chair of Together 2012, to send our condolences to the royal family on the sad death of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, today, and also to pay tribute to his work through the Duke of Edinburgh Awards and all the difference that's made to so many people's lives, disabled and non-disabled. But it's been a significant achievement, and I think it really does need and deserves remembering.
Absolutely agree. Probably hundreds of thousands of teenagers have benefited from the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme, and all the people that work with it as well, who are just generally so fantastic.
And it's always been inclusive, hasn't it? Which is more than you can say for so many schemes. So thank you for that, Julie. So the first thing we're going to do is tell you a bit more about our club's programme and how you can join in from home. On a Wednesday, we run the Pop-Up Poetry Club, and that now meets by telephone. In every other respect, it runs the same as when we were meeting in a physical venue. So we phone you and add you to a group call. All of that is free. We pay for it. And then we gather at about 10:30 with a cup of tea, some biscuits. You do have to provide your own, but that isn't a huge change. We share poems. Well, I say we, it's really Julie, Alison Marchant, our club's programme leader, and Noel Guinan, our engagement support worker, who does all the phoning. But we share poems. We have a weekly theme where we write poems and then we share those poems as well. And we have some to share here. If you're a disabled person from anywhere and can access the phone club, then, well, actually, I say anywhere. If you're living in the United Kingdom, because I don't think we're budgeted for overseas calls, and you would like to join the Pop-Up Poetry Club, drop us a line to info@together2012.org.uk. I'll put that up on the screen later. And if you just want to join in without taking part in the club, then we'll be announcing the theme for each week on this show. Do you know next week's theme, Julie?
Yes, it's trees, which I'm very excited about. Trees being a favourite thing.
So if you have poems that you want to, if you write a poem about trees, or indeed record a poem about trees, or sign a poem about trees, we would love to see it. In the meantime, this week's theme was music. Julie, can I ask you to read the first poem?
Thank you, Ju. The first contribution we have today is from Dawn Barber, and her poem is entitled Music. Music makes us feel good, makes us feel alive. Like Dolly Parton, 9 to 5, music's full of hopes and dreams and makes us feel happy, gives us a reason to get up and have a dance or just move your body. Music fills the world with joy. Oh boy, what music can do for us.
Thanks, Julie. So this is from Crystal Peasy, and it's just called Music. The music is the sound of happiness, and the music makes me dance. The music is happy and extreme. The music can be loud or quiet. Music can be attaining and parting, and you can rave all night, and you can sing all day and all night. It's easy to sing when you know the words. When you don't know the words, it can be a disaster. The music never makes me sad, even if the music's sad. Music also boosts your immune system and can create positive emotional experiences. It even helps relieve pain, and music helps improve my mood. Thank you for that, Crystal. And it also made me think about music clubs, which we previously ran on the first Friday of every month. We currently Zoom together to do open mic poetry and music combined, and that's on the first Thursday of every month. So again, if you're interested in an open mic event, sharing some poetry and some music, then please do drop us a line, info@together2012.org.uk. Julie, you have one from Taylor Henville.
Yes, I do. This is a lovely narrative poem. Actually, it tells a lovely story. It's called A Haunting Melody. I awoke in the middle of the night to the sound of tinkling piano keys. Unsure of where the sound was coming from, I wandered the house to see. The music carried me up the stairs to the attic space. The door was rattling with the tune, trying to keep pace. When the door swung open, I could see inside a ghostly figure at the piano, their head bobbing in time. The ghost went on playing the keys with flair, then looked up at me and said, "Make yourself useful. There's a tambourine over there."
Thank you, Taylor. That was fantastic. Another club that we run on a weekday morning is the Art Club, and the Art Club meets on a Tuesday and a Friday on Zoom. We Zoom together from 11 till 12, which is half the time that we used to spend together in a physical venue. But we really feel that's long enough when you're on screen. But of course, we encourage people to carry on from home. On a Tuesday, we have a make and natter session, and then we welcome you to either bring your own project, which could be any kind of craft based or knitting type project, or you can join in with the activities that we run, which are really based on things that you can find at home and lots of recycled materials. I'm just going to give you a couple of glimpses of what that group is doing at the moment. This is Duncan Blackstock's work. And this is a collage that Duncan is making. It's a little bit difficult for me to audio describe, but I'm going to put this up on our highlights and links page later. I don't know, Robin, do you have any thoughts on audio description?
It's I mean, it's very kind of pop arty, really. Unfortunately, it's a little bit blurry to make too much, but the top picture would look like a black and white image of roofs, I think, almost an aerial shot, but that might just be the picture. And then below that is kind of very arty. It's half a face, with the heart, with the eye is sort of highlighted by things around it, and then various bits of word around the outside. I'm sorry, Duncan, if that isn't the perfect description.
Yeah, that was very helpful, though. Thanks, Robin. I mean, one of the issues, of course, is people are just holding these up to the Zoom screen and trying to get a screenshot. So there's just one more I wanted to show you today, because what's happening at the moment is some people are working on collages, mostly from junk mail, but also from things like pill packets. And people are also working on weaving, where they're creating weaving looms just out of a piece of cardboard, either the back of a cereal packet or a cardboard box. So this is Sophia's weaving. So she's holding it up to the camera, and what she's done is she's got a pale pink wool that she's cut into the cardboard and then wound the pink wool round, and then she's weaving partly with white and blue wool and alternating stripes, but also putting pink ribbons into it. So that's going to be a very interesting kind of hanging, I think, when it's finished. We'll be popping those up on the highlights and links page. If you fancy having a go, drop us a line, or indeed join the club, and then Alison will be able to give you some more hands-on help in terms of how to set those looms up. So on a Friday, the art club move on to drawing and painting. And what we previously did in our physical venue was we had 2 hours of just free for all. We provided all sorts of drawing and painting materials, and people could experiment and just find their own voice. Unfortunately, we can't replicate that on Zoom. People really have to work with what they've got at home. So instead, what we're doing is we're running a still life session. If you'd like to join in the still life session, then either join the club And again, info@together2012.org.uk will get you started on that very quick, easy process, or just use the photograph at home. So here's to this week's still life from this morning. And it's a green glass vase. It's got, I think, about 6 daffodils in it with quite large heads as they're pointing towards the camera, and also a couple of sticks of white flowery blossom. And this is Crystal Peasy's version, where I think Crystal's painted the outside, sort of sketched the outlines and then coloured it in with greens and yellows. And this one is Glory Sengo, and I think Glory's managed to do all of this. I think it's coloured pen, actually. Glory does a lot of work with felt tip, but I'm pretty sure that that one is coloured pen. So thank you for that, Glory. And then I think I've got just one more, which is Sophia's. Sophia and Evelyn. So Sophia's done that with a helper, and that's been sketched out in felt tip as well. And one of the things we've started introducing with the still life session has been mindfulness, and that's worked really, really well. We're very aware that if you do a still life in a physical venue, you can move around the still life, you can look at it from below, you can look at it from above, you can choose your own angle. And you can't do any of that with a photograph. So what we're doing is incorporating mindfulness into the audio description of the image. And that needs audio describing, not just because some people can't see as well as others, but also because if you don't have a very good screen or you don't have a very big screen, you can't see the image so well. So the mindfulness is really working well, but it also makes it a very kind of contemplative, kind of relaxing session. We don't usually encourage any kind of conversation that's off topic, even in Making Natter, because what we want to do is leave our problems behind and get to know each other as artists. So it's very, very welcoming, and we would love you to join should you like to do so. We call our clubs because we think that's a term people are familiar with, but yes, you don't have to go through all sorts of joining procedures. You don't have to come every time. It's very much turn up as you wish. So I hope that gives you a flavour of the pop-up poetry and the art clubs. And now Tracy is going to take us on to another craft activity that we can do from home.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying really hard to. I haven't been able to get out, so I've been using all different sorts of things that come through the door. I've been collecting bottle tops, which I'm getting a nice collection of those now. So actually, I did an art this week, again on the flowers. So that was that's worked quite well. And I tried to create a couple of sunflowers out of things I'd got in the kitchen. So yeah.
Shall I put this first picture up and you can tell us what it is?
Yeah. So, and then we talked a while ago about using old chocolate boxes and things. So I've kept them as well, and that's actually the lid to a box of chocolates we had at Christmas. An empty toilet roll and a bit of yellow paint, just water paints. And so what I've done is I've cut the toilet roll all the way around the edge about an inch to make the sort of petal shapes for the sunflower. And then basically I just sort of put it in on one side so I could turn it over. So I've done the center, that's the outline of the sunflowers. And then I've got a collection of oranges and yellows and greens, which I used to create the inside and the stalk of the sunflower. And I'm not the greatest artist, but I quite enjoy doing these things. I found a new skill, a developing skill.
And I think they're very mindful activities as well,
Hmm,
aren't they, which we can all do with. So
yeah.
do you want to just describe the final piece, which is
Yes, the final piece is I did create like a centre with some orange pencils, different shades of orange, but then I wanted it to look a bit more 3D. So I used the paint that I'd used for the petals of the sunflower and sort of drew them into the centre to create that 3D effect on the actual head of the sunflower, and just used a green pencil just to do some stalks with a few leaves. Um, which is quite nice. That's on a white background. The yellow sunflower and the green leaves on a white background of the box. But not even thinking about it, the box has got a few stripes on, which fit in quite well. So centres it and makes a border. So
And presumably you could also do it almost like a kind of, if you wanted to refill the box with something else, almost like a secret thing at the bottom. I've
you
never
could,
thought of using toilet rolls as things to print with. I know
yeah.
Sarah Flurger, who's our regular presenter in terms of inclusive arts, did something with potato printing, wasn't it? But it would never have occurred to me to do that. How on earth did you think of it, Tracy?
Well, I might have had a little bit of help. I do scan the internet, YouTube channels for things to do with my Girls Brigade group, 'cause that's one of the things I also love to do. And I got it from there, and I thought, oh, I'm going to try this. It's actually for me, it was the first time I'd done it. Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about using the chocolate boxes as frames. Funnily enough, I seem to have quite a lot of empty chocolate boxes around. I too have been gathering things up and keeping them for crafting, but yes, an extraordinary amount of it seems to relate to chocolate in one form or another. But it's such a clever thing to do because even if the box itself is a bit dull at the bottom, you can always put a different piece of paper in, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have more chocolate box ideas in the future, and also mysteriously some of those catering size plastic bottles have appeared into my house and are sort of sitting there waiting for craft activities. All ideas are very, very welcome.
Okay.
Tracy, I thought that was lovely. I'm so impressed. I love printmaking. It's one of my passions. And to see the use of common household items as part of the printmaking process is really exciting. I really like what you've done.
Oh,
I think
thank
it's
you.
very inspiring. I mean, what we base our clubs around is the principle that everybody has got something to teach and everybody has got something to learn. And we incorporate techniques into things like making natter and all of our artwork, absolutely, that they're inclusive, they're accessible, anybody can do it, but you can also use it in fine art. And yes, I mean, this is just so inspiring for all sorts of printmaking using kind of just ordinary household objects, isn't it? And yeah, I think it's a wonderful kind of stimulation. And with the still life session, it isn't, it isn't about people thinking, oh, I can't think of anything I'd rather do than still life. It is just having that hour with the company of other people to do something that isn't necessarily very demanding, but can still really help improve techniques. You know, all of us have to draw at some point. I mean, I've been horrified in the past when I've had to draw things up for grant applications that have got nothing to do with drawing. But if you, for example, want to create an installation, you've got to have a picture of it. So yes, I think all of these things are useful, but like you say, there's no limits on where you can
Not
take
at
them.
all. And then even with the clubs, it might be a still life. It might be working from a picture, which I have to say I did like. It's very spring-like, isn't it? But interestingly, and I've said it each week, how different perspectives creep in with people's different styles of work and their own way of putting what they see down on paper. I just think it's lovely. I find that very inspiring.
Yes, well, there's no right way and wrong way with art. So there's only your way. And as long as you do it your way, it's going to be good. So I'm just going to put on a short video about our Join In From Home program. Apologies for people who've seen this video once too often. I am in the process of updating it so that we can also tell you more about the club's program. But this hasn't been the week that I managed to do it. So here is more about our Join In From Home program. Together 2012 is running a Join In From Home program from our website together2012.org.uk. Click on the link at the top of the page, Join In From Home, to go straight to the main page where you have a wide range of accessible, inclusive creative activities, mostly using things that you would already have at home. At the top of the page and throughout the pages, you will also see videos in British Sign Language to translate the site for deaf people. These videos can also be useful if you have difficulties reading and you simply want to hear more of the content. The Join In From Home programme is based on the activities that we would usually be running in East London. So, for example, we have an arts club which usually operates on a Tuesday with craft-based activities and on a Friday morning for drawing and painting. Here you can join in with the arts club's Hands project and celebrate your uniqueness and membership of the human race. There are full instructions on the linked page here. But essentially, we invite you to draw around your hand on a piece of card. It could be an old cereal packet. Cut the shape out, turn it over, and decorate it with anything you would like to do. It could be paints, crayons, glitter, collage, beads, leaves, anything you can think of. Photograph your hand or hands and send it to us at tv@together2012.org.uk. We'll add it to our video installation and share it on social media. Our music club usually meets on the first Friday of each month. We have an open mic session and we invite everybody to play along with percussion instruments. So here you can learn how to make your own percussion instruments from recycled materials. And you can also join in a percussion workshop from last summer in terms of carnival percussion. So these three instruments are used most often in carnival. We have a shaker and a go-go and a hand drum. So this is how to make a recycled shaker, a recycled go-go, and a recycled hand drum. You can also, if you're technically minded, make your own tactile sound instrument. This does require a few simple electronics, but is a very interesting and exciting project as part of our Vibrafusion ongoing work. You can also listen with Together. We have Spotify playlists created by Robin Surgener, also known as our TV presenter Angry Fish, and we also have 2 classical music playlists from Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, including one that's uniquely suited to people who are feeling very unwell. There we go, whizzing around the screen again. So just to add, we have one of our monthly clubs coming up on Monday. That's the Photographers and Filmmakers Club. Again, we've cut the time down to just an hour because of screen fatigue. This Monday, we have Hazel Brill, who's an artist who leads our youth program, and she's doing a session on the stop motion animation app. You don't have to have the app or be able to run it because Hazel will be screen sharing and then everybody will be making a film together. But again, all you'll have to do is Yes, use the camera as part of your Zoom and Hazel will do the rest. So if you're interested in filmmaking and particularly simple stop animation techniques, then again, drop us a line, info@together2012.org.uk, and we'll send you the Zoom link. So now we move on again to our Clockwork Paralympics, where we also compete for the right of our teddy bears to be a medal wearer. Medal bears are taking part in the International Bear Hunt, which has again been going on for a very long time now, but probably will never end because people just keep going live more and more and more. But if you have teddy bears at home, if you put one in the window, then children going for their daily walk will be able to mark it off on their bear hunt. And similarly, and particularly for children and young people who still can't go out, if you pop a teddy bear on your live stream, they will still be able to take part in the bear hunt. So let's have some introductions from the teddy bear from Birmingham 2022.
Okay, so this is B. Simple as that. B the bear. She is, I would describe her as a blonde bear, maybe about 12 inches tall. Really, really soft and fluffy, and she is wearing a pink hooded sweatshirt with special holes so her ears can come out comfortably and she can hear what's coming.
Oh, well, actually, we've got a very similar bear here in the sense that it's a bit smaller, but it's a very similar colour, which I think Robin described as blonde. Ours also has a strange headpiece, in this case, a pink ribbon, because she's a ballet bear called Anna, and she's also wearing a tutu. So both bears are sort of blonde and in pink. It will be interesting to see which one wins. So in our Clockwork Paralympics, we started off by paying tribute to the fact there was no sport. Now there is a little bit of sport with more coming up. We are also paying tribute to our Paralympians who still hope to be able to go to Tokyo this year. And then, of course, it's the Winter Paralympics coming up after that. So our Clockwork Paralympics celebrates all things Paralympian, including, of course, our very own Robin Surgener, MBE. If you want to join in at home, all you've got to do is to decide which clockwork toy you're going to support, the right hand of the screen or the left hand of the screen. And then Robin is going to do a little bit of commentary as befits a sports person. Which side of the screen have you chosen, Robin?
We're going to go for the right side of the screen, so the one you will release from your left hand.
And we have some new Paralympians taking part. So these ones. Oh, yes, we have clockwork robots. The one on the right hand side of the screen is blue, and the one on the left hand of the screen is red. They've got some new running track, but it is still being bedded in. If you want to take it from there, Robin.
Yes, absolutely. So you, for those regular viewers, you'll see that we do in fact have an upgrade to the stadium, or like good modern venues have multi-use, and the indoor running track has been put down in the form of a black matting with a white dotted line down the center. She is holding a blue robot in her left hand on the right hand side of the screen, and an orange robot or orangey red robot to the left. And here we go. So it's going to be an interesting start to see how these robots cope with the not entirely even surface of the black road yet. As Ju said, it needs to be bedded in. This angle, I think we've got that kind of, when tennis courts look really long, we've got that view, which makes it look much longer than it is. And they're turning to face each other, I think. Okay, well, that was okay. So we have a win for London. So congratulations, London 2012. That was really hard to tell from here. There was no depth perception.
Yeah.
Oh, now we've just seem to have a slight technical issue going on there. So I'm going to carry on talking.
Go back.
Oh, sorry, Robin. Did we disappear from you? Because
Yes, you just for a moment there, and I thought we'd lost you, but thankfully not.
It's the triumph of the bear.
Well, I was what you mean is that, you know, something briefly passed by Canary Wharf and the entire broadband collapsed. So I've just dropped our medal, so I'm going to pick it up in a minute. And in the meantime, we move on. Well, we're going to move on to recommend things for the week ahead. But that can include looking back as well. So I've just got a very short captioned video from our partners over at Disability Arts Online about the things that are available from the March issues for you to enjoy online now.
This month on Dow. Letty McHugh's cat helps edit her blog, Dyslexics Untie. Now for the most talked about story in the recent history. Alison Wilde talks about the deep problems with the film Music by Sia. This month, Dennis Queen nominated Sue Ellsgood for the Crit Tribute 2021. Gil Crawshaw looks at Leeds-based arts collective Pyramid in their sensory show. Sonia Buet shares her photo series Outside the Box, which gives a visual representation of neurodivergence. Follow cardboard artist James Lake building a large-scale sculpture in the documentary Paperman. And as always, check out our newsletter. And peace out.
Right. Thank you for that, Dean. Is that sound coming up? I ask myself. Can you hear it?
It is now. Sorry. Yes, you're here.
No, it's all right. We've got slight blips at this end as well, but it wouldn't be live if we didn't. So Anna Bear is now proudly wearing our only medal in the house, which is a gold plastic Newham Celebrates London 2012 medal. Unlike the Surgeoners, who have an entire house full, we're not jealous, are we, Judy? Because we've got more teddy bears.
Oh, yes, so we do.
Well, I would rather have more teddy bears, but I think the jury's out on our competitive Judy. So we're now looking, if I put this back, and then you'll be able to move back towards me, Julie. Ta-da! Oh, and everybody can see us again. So finally, we move on to recommend things for the week ahead, which, like I say, should very much include sitting down and having a look at anything at Disability Arts Online that you haven't already seen. I wanted to start by flagging up that on Sunday it's World Parkinson's Day, and they've got an online event from 11 to 12, which I think fits in really nicely at the weekend. And the theme is start a conversation. So that's really an easy one, isn't it? Start a conversation about Parkinson's. What do you know about it? Who do you know with it? What access needs are related? What can we all do to support people with Parkinson's? Find out on Sunday. It's also, staying on the health subject, Bowel Cancer Awareness Month. And on Sunday, also from 5 to 5:30, there's a Remember Together event. Bowel cancer is the second most common cancer in the UK. We lost a dear friend of ours, Joy Watton, or far too recently, really. So I'm definitely going to be taking part in that. There's a limit on the number of tickets, but they are streaming it. So what they've said is if you haven't already booked, they can't now send you out a special candle, but do join in at home with candles that you have at home. And I would say, wouldn't I, why not use a battery operated alternative? Because we're always very keen on health and safety. But those are two really important health and disability related events happening on Sunday. Robin, what would you recommend for the week ahead?
Okay, I'll go with my first one, which is I said at the beginning I'd explain why I was wearing a coach's shirt. Um, this weekend, well, in fact, yesterday, today, Saturday, and Sunday is what is called the British Para Swimming International Meet.
Mm.
And it's important for a number of reasons. It's the first competition that's been held back at Ponds Forge, um, which for anyone involved in sport, it's a big deal that Ponds Forge is still open or has reopened. Um,
Where is that?
I'm sorry, that's in Sheffield. That's the
Mm.
massive international swimming stadium in Sheffield. Um, and it's the and but it is also this particular competition, although it's part of a World Series, is the main qualifying event for British swimmers to qualify for Tokyo 2021. It's on YouTube, as the link will be up on the page, on the highlights and links page, relatively soon after the end of the show. Been great already. Josh and I have been glued to it. I think the good thing about YouTube things like this, though, is actually you don't have to watch it as it's happening, because you can just make sure you get to the page and then you can fast forward it and repeat bits when you. So technically, we like to see how they do it, and so we're kind of a bit boring like that sometimes. We'll go back and forwards and watch something, but I just think it's a really good event,
Mm.
and fingers crossed, it was allowed to happen, and it's a kind of another step on this on our roadmap to some sense of freedom.
Yes, and definitely some sense of sport. I've actually, as
Mm.
part of our new Paralympians, got various sets of Paralympic swimmers for us. I just haven't
Ooh.
quite worked out how to film them in the bath yet, but give me another week or two, and I'm sure I'll get onto it. Tracy, you were going to tell us what you were dressed up to go out to Stone to do. So escape rooms. I don't know what an escape room is.
It's a bit like Cluedo, but in an actual room. So you go in, you hunt for clues that lead you to either a key or, to be able to open the door to get out of the escape room. And sometimes there's various rooms to go through. And it's something I've always wanted to do. Never got around to doing it yet. And I thought now is as good a time as any. So I did a bit of research, and to my surprise, we can do it online, which I'm planning to do and get the kids involved, which would be really good. But also the venue, it's called Clue HQ, which is based in Birmingham. But the venue itself also offers a number of rooms. All the different rooms are themed. So the online rooms, we've got a choice of 3 different things to do. So it could be one's on a train, one's like in space, and then the third one for the virtual is becoming an
Illuminati.
Illuminati. Oh, I might look good, but I don't. I can't get the words out. So yeah, I always look very nice, as Ju said earlier. That this is actually my my Illuminati outfit. So that they're a secret society that I don't know if anyone's heard of the Dan Brown film.
Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, the Da Vinci Code. So it's that sort of thing. So I'm all dressed up and that's why I'm wearing the glasses on, a little bit incognito.
So just to clarify really quickly, you can actually, these things aren't just apps, you can do it in real life. It just sounds like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm that claustrophobic.
Yeah, no, I mean you can do it online, which is something I'm really excited about. But then when when it finishes, when we're happy enough to trust that we can go out, regardless of what everyone else is saying, it's a venue that we can go to and do in person.
I think just to
I
add that
think this sounds marvellous, Tracy. So
Mm.
just to clarify, when your personal lockdown finishes, your top priority is to go and be locked up again.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
just to
I
add,
think that says it all about where we've got to in
yeah,
life.
I know. I
it,
lock
it,
myself away in a room.
it's
Lily, what do you want to recommend? We haven't got time.
Okay. I was quite interested in continuing to explore art at the Tate, because I haven't really looked at that very much. I've looked at art all over the place over the last year, But I went onto the Tate website, and they've got some audio described and BSL interpreted descriptions of about 5 or 6 identified paintings. And I thought, well, that'll be interesting. So that's what I'm going to explore. I haven't had a chance to look at it properly, but I will put the links up. They've also got a podcast about memory and art, which I thought would be really fascinating. So that's my bit of Tateness.
And that just gives me an opportunity to flag up the fact that we're hoping to open a new club, which will be doing exactly what you're saying, gallery visits, but online through Zoom screen sharing. And some of those will be curated and guided by the institutions, and some of them will be curated and guided by Alison Marchant. But it's what we've always wanted to do, is to be able to take people on gallery visits, and haven't been able to secure the resources. So now we're going to do it virtually instead. And actually, speaking of virtually again and art stuff, on Sunday there is, Saturday 7 o'clock our time, but it's actually in the US. It's all free. It's a finger knitting workshop. And I thought that sounded really interesting, in terms of, if you don't even have any knitting needles in our sort of pursuit of recycled craft, you can always unravel a jumper. There's also an online Black History course for children and families tomorrow night from 5:30 to 7. And all of next week, there's a free series of introductory filmmaking workshops, which looks really, really interesting. We've been referring to our highlights and links page, hoping that you'll also remember that from our previous show, Together Unlocked. But our highlights and links page goes up as close to 5 o'clock as we can get it. It's under the main Together 2012 TV pull down menu, and all of these details with the links will be in there. And I just finally wanted to say, before I hand back to the rest of you, that of course Ramadan starts on Tuesday. So we'll be looking at more related to that next week. Did you have something else for us, Robin? I know I interrupted you earlier.
Oh no, yeah, sorry about that. I mean, just quickly on the escape room, is just to say that you generally you do it as a team, and but what's really good is that you don't all have to be in the same house to do it. So you can clock in to the same escape room, but with members of friends or family from different places. I just have one other arts thing, which in fact is from Disability Arts Online listing, and it's it's an exhibition, I guess, in the broadest sense, called Trellis. And it's a whole collection of different pieces of art that have been devised, created, put together by 3 different sets of people working together. The artists at the core, but also community groups and academic researchers. And the 2 main themes of all of this artwork is around the treatment of deaf people and deaf culture. In it specifically, it says in England, so I'll add that. Um, and also the kind of disregard and discrimination and misunderstanding around neurodiversity. So that kind of has fueled the creativity that's delivered the exhibition. But there, it's installations, it's films, it's conversations with artists. It's all free, and it starts on the 12th, which is Monday, and runs through to next Sunday. So that there really is a whole week of things, and the link is will be up for you to go and kind of find more out about it.
Yeah, that sounds great. And as I said earlier, we're going to be highlighting things that you can do with Disability Arts Online on an ongoing basis, because, of course, we will be back next Friday and every Friday for the foreseeable future. Doesn't really matter what the rest of the world is doing. If you're a disabled person who, like us, knows it's not safe for you to go out, and indeed have been told that by the doctor. Stay home, stay creative, and stay well. We can go all over the world without leaving our homes, which is what we've been proving for the last 12 months. So, Robin, would you like to introduce today's performance? And I shall just flag up, we will have a performance either live or filmed at the end of every show. So if you'd like to perform for us, please do get in touch. We'd love to interview you and just have you introduce your work, but it's not compulsory. So, Robin, tell us about the artist we're going to see next.
I will indeed. And thanks for that, Jew. I was going to say that I've put some stuff out already in Facebook, so please do come back to me and together. So you're going to see a video now from an artist. His real name is Jim McLean, but he also often goes by the stage name of Cosmic Nomad. Jim is from Belfast. He's a neurodiverse artist, and he dabbles in many art forms, visual art, poetry, storytelling, but he's also a really, really good kind of storytelling singer-songwriter. The film you're going to see was actually taken from an album launch that we shared back in about 2016, I think. But it's quite funny because he came over to stay with us from Belfast, and his traveling gear is basically a guitar and a bag of hats, and honestly, you and he would get on so well, because he has basically a hat, at least one hat for every different song, or a different hat for every different song. It's just what he does. It's great. So, and this piece is called "The Long and Winding Road."
Thank you. And we had Jim with a more recent song quite recently, didn't we? A couple of months ago. Is that right?
No, we had Sam.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know if it's one syllable and it ends in an M. All over. So thank you for that, Robin. And without further ado, we're going to pop this on. Or actually, I just have one interruption. For anybody who doesn't know much about Together 2012, we were inspired by the late David Morris, who led on inclusion for London 2012, but was also a very inspired filmmaker, poet, and loved performances. And what he used to do at the start of each of his gatherings is sit there with a great big pile of hats and wigs, encouraging everybody to put a hat or a wig on and just take them out of themselves. I wasn't really a hat person till this year, but you can only spend so long with a homemade haircut without wanting to cover it up. And I realised my limit was about 12 months. So I'm a hat person too now.
Cosmic Nomad.
Thank you.
Day after day, in the forest where I play, in a wilderness of mystical embrace, a highway to the unknown, where the spirits come and go. But there is a light that shines to guide the way, as I paint my pathway on the breeze. Wings of passion carry me to all the places in my dreams. I know just where I want to be. The unwinding road is never paved in gold, but the light is dim and the music leads me on. The unwinding road that gives me never-ending hope. Though the light is thin, the music leads me on. Yeah. as the passion starts to rise. Give my heart a sip of the mystic tasting wine. I look up to the sky where the heavens' love will shine. And I know there's still someone watching over me as I paint my pathway on the breeze. Your wings of passion carry me to all the places in my dreams. I know just where I'm gonna be. The unwinding road is never paved in gold, but the light is dim and the music leads me on. The unwinding road gives me never-ending hope. Where the light is thin, the music leads me on. Your wings of passion carry me across a cold and raging sea. Your wings of passion carry me. I feel your love now, I believe. The unwinding road is never paved in gold. Where the light is thin, the music leads me on. The unwinding road gives me never-ending hope. Though the light is thin, the music, that music leads me on.